Hello friend, how is it going? Welcome back to Auto Resource YouTube channel. Have here 2006 Honda Accord with approximately 188,000 miles on the odometer, and it has a 4-cylinder engine, 2.4 liter K24 4-cylinder engine. Very reliable, very good, but it has one weakness. It's a new customer, so I never work in this vehicle, and apparently the vehicle was sitting on and off. There might be problem with a starter, like an intermittent. That's why the owner didn't drive it much, and asked me, hey, I know you work on my Toyota, will you please work also on Honda? I said, okay, let's make exception to the rule because I only do Toyotas. Let's bring it in. Sure enough, he drove it here, left it in front of the shop. Sure enough, the starter starts every single time perfectly. The battery was a little bit low, so it was fully charged overnight. But it came with a check engine light. He didn't mention that, as you can imagine. And it had that infamous P0341 camshaft position sensor, a circuit range or performance B1 problem, right? So you immediately might jump to the conclusion, hey, there's a problem with either of those camshaft sensors because it's a double overhead cam. It's a IV tech, so the exhaust, it's variable. Intake is variable, exhaust it's set. You might think, yeah, one of the sensors is bad, right? Of course, you have to start first checking the wiring harness and so on, but statistically, if you talk people who work on Hondas, and I don't, but statistically, the sensors are fine. If you consider the age, it's 2006, it's 22, so it's a 16 years old vehicle and it has 188,000 miles on the odometer. This engine is famous, the K24 2.4 liter is famous for timing belt stretch. There is a very short repair history. It's mostly about the brakes and the tires. So the owner got it from previous owner. If I will say very little service history, I don't think it was ever touched. And I checked the sensors, the wiring, the voltages supplied to it, and they seem to be fine. And sure enough, when I timed the engine, I prepared it for you. The show is prepared for you. And I timed the engine. There's pretty huge timing chain stretch on it. Let me show you. So, if you have Honda with K24, you get this code. I highly recommend to you not to follow some crazy videos on YouTube, because we are all on YouTube, and start replacing these sensors. Cam sensor for intake, and if you can see that E written there, is it visible? Right there, E. That's an exhaust cam sensor. So it's two of those that are expensive. If you ever have to replace them, I will recommend you go with the OEM Honda. And they are not cheap, and statistically, most likely, these are totally fine and they are reading correctly. So where were we? I got a BG representative here, interrupted. So please don't start at this mileage on K24. Don't start with wasting money replacing these sensors, because you might not solve the problem. The ECM will still see that the engine and cams are, if I can say it, out of the whack. Nothing will be fixed. Wasted money for two sensors. And your problem is actually in the stretched timing chain. It can stretch, and it can stretch to the point that it will even jump the teeth. So basically, how you will check your vehicle, you don't need too many special tools. This is a relatively easy checking for timing chain stretch. How you do that? Well, this is all what I had to remove. The beautification cover, it's right here, right? This is 2 of them. Ignition coils. Then these washer spacers which are on top of it. I don't want to turn it upside down. So that was removed. The valve cover, it's off. And you have suddenly this incredible access. You can see the cams. And you will be able, like me, without the removing timing chain cover. There's no need, because we have harmonic balancer, and that harmonic balancer which is down there, will you see it? I'm afraid you won't. I have a 19mm half drive ratchet with an extension, and the socket is on the harmonic balancer. It's down there. I have to show it to you somehow, right? So can we see it? Yep, this is not easy to film. So down there it's harmonic balancer, and it has a notch for the 0 for top dead center of the cylinder number 1. So if you do the turning carefully and watch your timing marks, you will bring your engine to the top dead center, which I did before I invited you here. And everything is timed. The light is not in our favor. This is not easy thing to film. No matter how much light I put here, it's absolute frustration. So there are timing marks on exhaust variable cam, right? Excuse me, intake, I don't know why I keep saying it the other way. Exhaust is on the back. So let's focus on these. You see the mark up there? This is absolutely frustrating nightmare. Do you see the mark right there? Yep, that shows up. Here, do you see that green color? It's just too much light suddenly, right? See that green color? The green color actually somebody put there when they were putting it together. And there's another mark on this cam wheel. So there is a little dot right here. Let's see if this will actually solve our problem. If I try to get there with the phone. Do you see that? I cannot even confirm what you see. There's so little space. But I'm hoping the phone is showing that those marks are not aligned correctly, despite the fact I have it perfectly on the bottom in the 0 degree. Since this seemed to be helpful, the phone footage, I will try to squeeze it down there and show you the notch on the harmonic balancer. Do you see how it's nicely? Do you see that notch towards to that pointer? So that single notch is for 0 TDC. There is 3 more, but I already passed them, right? Somebody might think, no, it's the 3 ones. And the parts right here it will line up. It's not. I already went. This is engine which you turn it clockwise. It means looking right here to the right. I already passed this 3, and this was even further, right? The marks were even further. I can actually align the marks here. I can turn it, and we will finally observe the notch, how far away the harmonic balancer notch will be. Let's do that right now. So here it goes for those non-believers. I kept turning the engine more to the right, the clockwise. Now finally I aligned these two marks. It moved a little bit, right? So the green dot is right here. The other dot is still right here, right? And that's why this doesn't tell you. But you can see this dot is already traveling way past the top. This one is still maybe towards to the top, but look on the bottom. Look where the marks on the harmonic balancer are. They are gone. They already disappeared to the right. They are gone. Right, they are way past that 0, which is on that timing chain cover. So basically, if I'm correct, the timing is in the minus instead of plus. If the ECM is running this, it's trying, or it was trying to compensate for it, but it cannot, and that's why it's throwing the code. That there is a problem with reading the cams. The timing is way off, and it needs to be corrected. You don't want to reuse this timing chain, obviously. It's stretched. You need a new one from Honda. Thank you for watching, guys. Good luck to you with your vehicles.